Welcome back, guys, to Cake's Glorious Bakes. Today we have a chocolate lime cake. Okay guys, we need 175 grams of unsalted butter, 200 grams of dark chocolate, 300 grams of plain flour, 375 grams of golden caster sugar, 25 grams of cocoa powder, 1 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda, 2 medium eggs, 200 mils of natural yogurt, 200 grams of natural yogurt, a nice fresh lime, and we will need some chocolate lime sweets, chocolate limes, which we will crush and blend to look like powder. Not quite powder, but crush it quite fine. And we will also need some hot water, hot kettle water, which has to be boiling hot water, which we will use, but we don't need it yet, so I will do that at the time to show you. Okay, let's get cracking. So, my oven is preheated to 180 degrees, and I have lined my cake tins with some greaseproof paper. The first thing we're going to do is to mix our dry ingredients. So our flour goes into our mixer with, pop that aside, with our sugar, pop that aside. Oops, we don't know one there. Okay. Our bicarbonate of soda, just here, pop that in. Pop that aside. Our cocoa powder and a little pinch of salt. So our cocoa powder in there as well. And just a little pinch of salt, or a little grinded salt, whichever you have. So that is it, a little bit of salt. Then we're going to turn our mixer on and let all the dry ingredients mix together, like so. Making sure our mixer is plugged in. Okay, nice slow speed. Just to mix the ingredients together. The next thing we're going to do then is to put our eggs with our natural yogurt and give that a little mix together. Okay, so that should be enough now on here. Actually, there's a few little bits of flour I can see that needs to be mixed in with the cocoa powder. Turn it up a little bit. That's looking good. Okay, so we'll have a look what this looks like now. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so now we're going to get our eggs and our, here's my spatula gone there, and our yogurt. Okay, and we're just going to crack our eggs into our yogurt and give it a little mix. I've got a nice little whisk. I've cracked my eggs, making sure there's no eggshell in here, and we're just going to split our yolks and then give it a gentle mix to mix it all in with the yogurt. Doesn't look very nice at all, I may say, but it's going to be inside the cake, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so let's give this a good mix in. So what this does is, when the egg and the yogurt are mixed together, it's like an alternative to buttermilk. As you can see, it's got a lot thicker. The consistency has changed, the colour has changed, and I think that's about right. Okay, good. Our next step is to put our chocolate and butter into our saucepan and put it on a gentle heat on top of the cooker just till it starts to melt. So our butter and our chocolate mixture is melted nicely. There's still a little bit of butter in there, but that's going to melt down quite nice. So all you want to do is just melt these two together and then take it straight off the heat. Okay, so our next step is to put this into here and this into here. We do need to boil our kettle at this point, guys, for our hot water, and we need 100 mils of boiling water. I'll pop my kettle on. Give this a little bit of a stir. Okay. While my kettle's boiling, I'm just going to pop this into the mixer. Doesn't look very nice, but it will taste nice. Okay, my kettle is just pinged to tell me it's boiled. And we need 100 mils of boiling water. So let's put that into the jug. Measure 100 mils. Which is here. 100 mils, if you can see. Okay, let's go back over to here with a clean spatula. Just give this a little mix in. Like that. Okay, then we're going to add our melted chocolate and melted butter. Pour it all in. scrape down. Okay. Plus our 100 ml of water straight in. Then we're going to let this mix all together on a nice slow speed. Turning up just to make sure everything's mixed in nicely together. Okay. Oh, now that looks nice and glossy. Look at that. Smells really nice too. Move our K-beater. Okay. Get our little spatula. Making sure everything is scraped down and mixed in. That's looking very nice. And it smells really good too. So, let's bring this over to here. And bring this over to here. Close down our mixer. So what you're looking for is a nice, shiny, glossy chocolate mixture with all the ingredients mixed in. There's no lumps. It's all nice and glossy. And that is ready to go into our tins. I've got my 2 cake tins with my greaseproof paper. And because this is quite a runny mixture, we can just pour this in. So, just roughly guess like that. Look how shiny that is. Does that look lovely? It won't be shiny when it's cooked though. Okay, that's my mixture. Put that aside. Then we get our tins. Give them a tap. This gets the air bubbles out. So guys, these are going to go into the oven now for 20 to 25 minutes. Remember, when you're testing your sponges, to pop a skewer into the centre of the cake to make sure it comes out nice and clean and no wet mixture on your cocktail stick, skewer or knife. So guys, I'll see you in 20, 22, 25 minutes and show you what these look like. Guys, don't rest yet, we haven't quite finished. So while our cakes are in the oven, we are going to make our chocolate icing / chocolate ganache. So to make this, we just need a very nice bar of chocolate, plain chocolate, and we need 200 grams, which is a 200 gram bar here. Right there, it's 200 grams. Then we will need 200 mils of double cream. Double cream, 200 mils. Then we're going to pop this in a saucepan and allow it to melt. So this didn't take very long at all. Just took it off the heat because it started to melt. I brought it back over here and I'm just going to mix the chocolate and the cream together. So all we want to do is melt it. So that's looking nice and shiny. And glossy. And that's what we're looking for. So melted together, a nice glossy look. Okay, so our next step is now to pop this into our big mixer or use your hand electric mixer, whisk, and we're just going to thicken it up, oops, leave the bloopers in, see. We're just going to thicken it up enough so it's spreadable, because if we put this on the cake, even when it's cooled down like this, that is just going to run. So when you put the two sponges together, it's just going to run out everywhere and you'll have no delicious filling in the middle. So we're going to pop this into this. So we want it all in here, every last bit of chocolate. So this is going to be the chocolate ganache. Let's pop on our balloon whisk. Again, we don't want to do this too quick because we don't want it to go too thick. Ah, I'm a rhymist. Just nice and slow, and we just want it thick enough so it's spreadable. Let's have a little clean down by here. You don't really want to see me clean down, guys, do you? I usually skip that bit. But I've got a bit of chocolate here. So, I sprayed some cleaning product so we can get this nice and clean. Let's go back over here. Let's give this a little check. Let's wash my hands first. Okay. Let's have a look. So, it's starting to thicken, but it's not quite thick enough. So we're going to pop it back on. Starting to thicken, still runny though, so it's going back on. Okay. Okay, so let's have another little look. Let's see how it's doing. It's looking thicker. Yeah. Yeah, that's thick enough. That's what you're looking for to coat the spoon. So, that's our chocolate ganache done. And now I'll show you the next step. Okay, our next step is to pop 400 ml of double cream into our mixer. And we're just going to put on a slow speed just to make it a bit thicker, but we don't want it too thick. Our oven is beeping. I'll turn this off a minute while we check our cakes. Okay, the cakes I've just taken out of the oven because they're cooked and they're just cooling down. I've decided to make my cream a green colour because the cake is a chocolate lime cake. I thought it would be quite nice to have a nice green colour. But you don't have to do that. That's just my choice. Okay, so this is the thickness we're looking for of our cream. And I've got a nice green colour. Just made this a nice deeper colour green so you can see, because I don't think you could see the colour of the green with the light in. So now you can see you've got a nice quite vibrant limey coloured cream, which will look nice because it's a lime cake, and that's the colour against the sweet. Okay, I've just brought our ganache back to show you how it thickens while it's cooling down. It needs about an hour to cool before you're able to put it on the cake, but it's thickening up really nice, lovely and glossy, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for that shine. So that is looking pretty much perfect. So back to our cream. Do you remember when I said to you earlier that you were going to need some nice crushed up lime sweets? Well, here's why. I'm going to show you. Okay, we've got our crushed up sweets here, and I've done mine in a little hand blender, but you could do yours with a rolling pin or pestle and mortar. And we're just going to sprinkle these sweets through the cream. This cream's going to be layered throughout the cake. This is not going on the top. So sprinkle a good amount in there. Get yourself a clean spoon or spatula, and then give it a little mix. So you've got the flavour of the sweets in the cream, but not only that, you should have a little bit of a crunch as well. I'm going to pop in some more. Oh, this be quite generous, guys. Okay, I'm just going to give that a little try and see what we think. With a clean spoon. Oh, oh, that's nice. That is really nice. It's got a lovely crunch to it, which will give it a nice texture, and you can definitely taste the lime sweets in there coming through. So that is a good job. Okay, next is this little baby. So we get ourselves one of these and we get ourselves one of these. And in case you didn't catch that, we got ourselves one of these and one of these. So we're just going to zest our lime to put through with our cream. Not too much, because we want some of this for the top for decoration. We don't want the juice because we're using a fresh cream. We don't want the juice of the lime, just the zest. So not too much, because it's already quite zesty, quite lusciously lime. So it's about half a teaspoon. Pop it in there. Just give it a little mix around. Lovely. Well done, guys. This is quite a lot to do to make this chocolate lime cake, but it will be worth it. It just seems a lot of ingredients and a lot of preparation. It's not when you break it down, but it will be worth it, guys, so stick in there. Guys, I've got to show you how fresh these sponges are. They're still hot, but they are so soft. These need to, be cooled down for a good hour now before we can decorate them. But they're so soft. If I bring the camera closer, I'll show you. Look at that, it's so soft and springy. That's a beautiful sponge. Absolutely lovely. And just to show you, I'm going to get one of my little sticks, pop it into the middle, bring it out, clean, and this one, pop it into the middle, bring it out, nice and clean. So this is now going to cool down fully for about an hour, and then I shall come back and show you what we do next. Okay, now we're going to slice our cooled sponges down, and they're nice and cool now, so you wait for them to completely cool down before you even attempt slicing them, because when they're hot they can easily fall apart. So we find the middle of our cake with our cake leveler, but if you don't have one of these you can just use a knife. So that's not the middle, it's a bit more. These look so nice and moist. Here we go, that's the middle. Hand on top, just gently, and it's so moist that it just glides through. Just take your time, nice and slow. Then we carefully put our hand underneath and turn over. Look at that. That is looking nice. We get our second one here. We pop this on here too. a second sponge in the middle, just there, hand on the top gently, and start slicing through. Take your time because it's so fresh. We don't want it to fall apart and we don't want it to crumble. So again, put our hands just underneath with our clean hands. Pop that there. And that is it, guys. Now I'm going to clean down and then I'm going to show you how to assemble. So I've got myself a nice new cake board and a turntable, which is very handy to have and makes things a little bit easier. Actually, it makes things a lot easier than trying to turn a cake on a plate or something, because this just spins around. So it's worth getting one of these if you don't have one. Okay, so the first thing we do is to get a little bit of our icing or our chocolate, whichever you want to use, which is thickened up really nice now. That looks really nice, doesn't it? Okay, so because it's a chocolate cake, I'm going to put a little bit of chocolate. Then get some of our very green cream. Just gently spread it out. Not going too near the edges because we don't want this to go on the outside. We just want it inside. So just gently spreading around and turning our Lazy Susan or our rotating table, whichever you want to call it. A little bit more in the middle. Like that. And then we're going to sprinkle some of our lime crushed sweets on top of this cream. So sprinkle all over the cream, quite generous. Like that. Then we're ready for the next layer. This cake is so soft. Very gently do this, making sure it's lined up all the way around the best we can. Okay, then we do the same again. Some nice vibrant green cream into the middle. Start spreading out. Again, we don't want to go too close to the edges because we don't want it to go on the outside. And then we spread all around, turning our table into the middle, and then sprinkle some more of these lovely crushed up chocolate lime sweets. Like that. Then we're ready for the next layer. Okay. Then we pop on our next layer. Like that. Doing the same thing again. Nice lime cream. Spread it out. Gently bring it around as close to the edges as we can without getting it on the sides. If we get bits on the sides, it doesn't really matter. That's not a huge problem. So, like that. Bit more cream in the middle because we'd like to be generous. Oops, guys, look, there's another blooper. I'll clean that off in a minute. Okay, spread it out all the way around like that. Get our crushed sweeties and sprinkle. Then I'm going to clean down my board and I'll be back. Okay, had a little clean down. Now we're ready for the last bit on the top. Very carefully place on the top, like that. It's a lovely looking colour to the sponge. Okay, now we're going to tidy up any bits that's around the edges of green. Any bits here. With a little knife. And we're just going to pop it back into our mixer. Take your time doing this because we don't want to break the sponge, and because it's so fresh and quite soft, it's very easy to sort of break the sponges. Okay, so just get most of it off from the edges. Doesn't have to be completely 100% off, as long as we've got the majority off, ready for when we ganache. Okay, a little bit of cake coming off there. We'll sort that out now with our ganache. Okay, that's looking great. I've just got one support stick. If you don't have these, that's fine, you don't have to use them. They're good if you're going to be travelling in a car with a cake. Just gives them some extra support. So I'm just going to measure at the side, pinch, score, snap, and pop that down into the center of the cake, just like that. Okay, to push it down a bit more, there you go, so it's into the sponge. Like that. Now our next step is for our lovely chocolate ganache to start putting it onto our cake. So we're just going to give it a little mix like that, pour some on the top. Get ourselves a clean palette knife and just gently start to spread out onto our cake, all the way to the edge, using our board as we go to gently turn around like that. Next, we carefully trim any edges of our sponge, keeping the bits that comes off, because we can reuse those bits there. Whoops. Okay, so keeping all these little bits here off the sides. And we do this because it just makes the cake easier for when we put the buttercream or fresh cream or ganache or whatever it is we've got for the outside of our cakes. It just gives a cleaner finish, and then once we apply our cream or our ganache, it gives a smoother look and a smoother finish. I'm not taking much off, there's only bits off the end, so you're not losing much of your cake. It's just those little crusty bits on the end from where it's baked. So we do this all the way around. Which I'm just going to speed up. So I've gone around all my edges and cut off the crusty bits on the end from where it's baked, and then we just want to go around again to make sure there's nothing that we've forgotten. Just making sure that it's as straight and even as possible. Ready for our nice ganache. And then we pick up all these little bits and pop them aside before we start to ganache our cake. So I've had another little clean down, and now we're ready to start ganaching the sides of our cake. So let's give our little ganache mix again. Okay. Get our palette knife, some of our ganache, go to the side of our cake and gently start to apply our ganache. Don't rush this, take your time if you want it to be nice and neat. So ever so gentle, because remember the sponge is still really fresh and really soft, and we don't want to break our sponge. Just like that, and a nice upward motion. It smells so nice. It smells very rich. Okay, so that's all the side of our cake covered with the ganache. And then with what's left in here, we can go back over anything that we've missed and cover up any bits of sponge or any little gaps and spaces that we've seen but we've missed. Another blooper. Okay, so a little bit there. It's a lovely shine on this. Okay, a little bit here. And then I'm going to smooth it out. This does look really nice, and it does smell so good. I'm not even big on chocolate cakes. I prefer a light white sponge, vanilla sponge, with fresh cream and fresh berries, but I would quite easily and quite happily take a small slice of this cake and enjoy it, because it smells really, really nice. I couldn't eat a lot of it because I'm not big on chocolate, only certain chocolates, but I would certainly enjoy a slither of this. These make lovely celebration cakes, lovely birthday cakes, or just have it as a tea time treat and treat yourselves. Why not, isn't it? Make it for the kids at the weekend, make it for yourself, make it for your family, share it with a nice cup of tea, or keep it all to yourself. Okay, that is looking absolutely delicious. Scrumdiddly umptious. I'm just going to clean down a little bit, and then I shall show you what's next. Okay, now we get our bench scraper, if you've got one. But if you haven't, that's fine. You can just use your palette knife and finish with your palette knife. So this is my bench scraper. This will go to the side of my cake, angled, and we just gently pull it around, moving the board, and this will smooth out our chocolate. All the way around. Right up to the top. Like that. And like that. So that has given it a nice smooth finish. Okay. Then I'm going to show you what's next. Started to smash up some of our chocolate lime sweets, put them on the top, just to give a clue of what's inside, really, the flavour. Like that. Then we're going to put some of our lime zest on the top. Like that. Just around the outside edge. Of the cake. All the way around. Remember to use your board because it's easier for turning. Doesn't that look lovely, the green with the chocolate? The colours look really nice together. And then we're just going to do a little bit more lime. A little bit more around the edges. Isn't that looking lovely? A little bit by here. And just finish off with some little bits of lime around our board. And that is our chocolate lime cake, which looks absolutely scrumdiddlyumptious. And here we have our finished cake. Chocolate lime cake. Delicious. So well done, guys, and enjoy if it's for yourself, or I'm sure whoever you're making it for will absolutely love it. Well done.
Me again. Let me get this right. Chocolate ganache. Chocolate with lime. Chocolate lime's all crushed up. I'm going to have a taste of this now. And I'm going to tell you what it's like. Bit of a big spoon, isn't it? Definitely taste the chocolate. Definitely taste the lime on that. Very limey. Yeah. Now that's nice.